Welcome to Esther's Universe. It's a magical place full of courage, creativity, and joy. It's where anything is possible as science and woo-woo come together to teach you how to step into your power and raise your vibration so together we can heal the collective and make a positive impact on the world. If you love the pod, please share it and enjoy.
We wanted to do this podcast for so long.
It was so long. Welcome to the pod. You're here with me and Sonja. Sonja is like one of my best friends, well, my best friend in the whole world.
I was like, excuse me.
I have a lot of best friends, but then I was like, no, I don't like any kind of like, I don't like favorites or hierarchies.
I'm the same.
Yeah. But you know what I mean.
She's one of my best friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're talking about our friendship, probably. I mean, we were at the cafe getting downloads about how we want to talk about our friendship because we were just talking about how beautiful our friendship is, and then we both got goosebumps and we were like, we should share this with the world.
Yeah, like we do this all the time. Like every day we like take a moment, just like naturally we stop and we're like, oh, how good is our friendship? And then we just like recap what we've been doing and recap how we... Not recap, but like we
reflect and we're grateful.
Yeah.
And it just brings even more closeness in because we appreciate it so much. So what are like some of the things that you can think of that make our friendship so great that could probably help other people with their own friendships and connections in general?
There's so many things. I always just think how I just wish that everybody will meet their Esther.
Oh, I wish that too. Everyone meets their Sonja.
Yeah, that's like honestly the thought that I'm always like, I wish that everyone will experience this kind of friendship sometime because it is so healthy.
It is.
Inspiring. It's so uplifting. Like, we just support each other all the time. There's like not a bit of like jealousy. There's nothing like, oh, I can't tell you this because X, Y, Z. Like, we tell each other everything and we genuinely froth life in the same level and we move in the same pace. Yeah. So that's why it's like, it works so well. Like, I don't even have to think about it working because it's like, it just exists in the most beautiful, healthy, inspiring way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we both got that like really fast, speedy Manny-Gen energy. And we both like being like mad scientists, learning things really quickly. We're both hyper creative, intensely loving, very honest, and finding someone else like that in the world to grow with. Also, I love what you said last night. Like, I just think it's so rare to finish that sentence. But last night you were saying that when we first met, we were learning about each other. And we were going through the whole like, you know, what do you like? What do you do? And we learned that, you know, we prefer to eat things like nuts while we're working with a spoon so that we don't get stuff on the keyboard.
Like, obviously.
Why wouldn't you? So we know all these little things about each other. And then once we learned like as much as we could about each other at our current frequencies that we were at, we then progressed into learning about the world together, like even more. And then we go on these rabbit holes of like learning and we accelerate through everything. I think that was really cool. And then I was like, I wonder... Like, before you said it, I hadn't actually thought about that.
Same.
Like if I had thought about that in life, I feel like I would seek that in friendships. To be like, okay, I want to learn as much as I can about this person and really enjoy them. And then once I know all that, I want to learn about the world with them through their lens and through my own, and we can share the view together.
Yeah.
Like, that's lovely.
It's so sick. And I feel like the reason why... I don't know if that's the reason why. Like, one of the reasons why I haven't met, like... or haven't had friendships like this because I feel like I'm meeting them with this current frequency I'm at. And I feel like I naturally want to just talk about like the big things in life and go in my crazy scientist mode and talk about physics and neuroscience. And I love neuroscience.
Time and space and gravity.
Yeah, literally. And I love learning and I love teaching, and like I feel like the time that we spent before we like the time that we were like just like hanging and creating together, and I mean we're still learning heaps of shit.
I still learn more about you, but I'm learning about like you through your experiences with the world that you're sharing with me. So I'm learning about whatever you've learned, and I'm learning more about that part of the world or whatever with excitement. But then I'm also learning more about you as well and how you're perceiving it, which is really cool.
Yeah, exactly. But I feel like now when we both entered this like new state of being, which feels so amazing, and I feel like I forget sometimes to like when I meet people to know like the little things, like this guy doesn't like olives, or this girl doesn't like this color red. Yeah. For some reason. I don't know. Like those little things that make you you. Like, what are you really passionate about? Like if you go to the beach and you're like, oh my God, I want to collect shells, and like those little things that make you like
how you can't pee in the ocean well.
Yeah.
I love knowing that about you.
I'm working on it. One day I can pee in the ocean.
But then when we go for swims and I know that you're like trying to pee so bad, I can just like cheer you on.
And those are the things that, like, obviously, like, if that comes up in a conversation, if I'm, like, I'm busting and I'm about to go for a surf and there's no toilet, or I need to go in a bush or something, and then someone's like, why don't you just pee in the ocean? Like, and then I tell them this story. But it's so nice knowing that you know this.
Yeah.
And then, like, we go to the beach and you know that if I'm, like, looking around, I'm probably looking for a toilet. Yeah. Because I can't be in the water. And I don't have to explain myself. Like, you know all the little
I'll
things.
just point out a toilet block for you.
Anyway. You don't have to talk about me and I be able to pee in the water, but
it's like you just, when you meet people now, you just want to go straight to the depth of the cosmos.
Yeah.
It's like nice to also know about how they exist on Earth.
Yeah.
But I also think it's almost like when I meet people, I want to know how expansive their thinking is early on before I want to go into the depth of who they are on Earth. Like, I want to know who they are on Earth, that's important, but I'm like, how far does your brain go?
Yeah.
Because then I'm like, cool, we can expand together. Mm-hmm. Which is nice.
It is nice. And I feel like I don't even kind of consider that. Like, the way I just like go deep in the cosmos all the time. Like, if I, like, recently I was, this week, don't know when it was, I think it was this week, when I was listening to that podcast about time and gravity, and literally everybody who I saw, I was like, oh my God, I was just learning this. Do you know about like this and that about time and gravity? And then like some people look at me like, okay, cool. And then some people are like, oh, that's sick. But no one gets on the same level. Like, you are like, oh my God, let's learn everything about time and gravity. Like, this is what I've learned. That's what I've learned. And then
Let's compare notes.
Yeah, literally. And that's my favorite part about our friendship. And I feel like now being on this like state of being and like expressing my authenticity constantly, like I feel so happy with myself and the way I am and comfortable with it, and I embrace it like every second and every minute. And then if I go on this like crazy scientist chats with someone who's not a crazy scientist, the chat's probably going to finish in like a minute. But then I forget to maybe go to the basics and like learn about their little things, you know.
Yeah, we could probably both do that more.
Yeah.
Maybe we'd make more friends.
Legit. Yeah.
That's funny. Do you know what I love about us? There's this thing that we do. This, I'll tell it from my perspective, because that's all I know, really. I was observing it last night, but it's a thing that we do often. So this willingness to learn and self-develop, right? Like, we're both obsessed with developing ourselves. Like, how much more can we hone our powers? How much more can we know ourselves? How much further home can we come to ourselves? Like, all that sort of stuff. And we use each other as almost like a barometer of where we're at with it, or to pull up little things, little frequencies that might be like slightly causing a slight interference in the flow or whatever.
Yes. I love it.
Yeah. And like, we have an openness to that as well, to receiving it. So it's like, when I'm saying something, I could be telling literally any fucking story. It doesn't really matter the contents of the story. But if there's a part of like my mind that is coming in with a bit of a fear or a block or a bit of like self-worth misalignment or something like that, I notice your energy shift into a place of like listening for the frequency. You're still listening to me. You're still like, you don't change your outward being. You're still like, yeah, you're in the conversation, like blah, blah, blah. But I feel your energy shift because I feel that you hear it. And then I'm like, oh, so then I join you. And I'm still just talking. Like on the outside, on Earth, we're like, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. But in the universe, I'm like, yeah, I can see you've got the microscope out. And I'm like, I'm going to get the microscope out as well. And then I'm listening to myself and I'm telling you the story, but I'm telling you the story knowing that you're kind of like then asking me questions like almost like massaging this little frequency up and out into our awareness. And so I'm like looking for it. You're massaging it. You're asking little questions that maybe bring it up. And then eventually I see it and I'm like, yeah, there it is. And I see where the root of that frequency misalignment is. And then once I have the awareness of it, I can just bring it into alignment like that. And I think that is really fucking cool.
I think it's cool too.
That's fucked up. Because like at the end of the day, if you put that in like total human terms, what's happening is like the mind in a place of like fear or whatever is ego, right? And that's bringing up like a block. You're hearing a block. You're presenting an opportunity to me to look at my ego. You're holding up a mirror being like, hello, there's a place here right now where you can look at this ego in a safe space. And I'm going, thanks. And I grab the mirror and I start looking for it like in the mirror. And so then I receive that thing that you're giving and I take that on and then I see it. And then we celebrate afterwards being like, how cool, like just found that little thing, like amazing. Now it's out of the way, next.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I love doing that. I love you have goosebumps. It means it's the truth. It's aligning with me. And that's one thing I love as well. Like when we get goosebumps about the same things. And then we froth that we get goosebumps. Like I don't think I ever froth so much about getting goosebumps ever since like this whole goosebump. When did you start getting goosebumps?
I've always had them. I just didn't know they were a spiritual thing. I thought it was weird. I found it kind of embarrassing. Like I'd be talking to someone telling a story and suddenly they were like, you've got goosebumps. And I'd be like, oh, I don't know. And I had no answer for it. I was like, I don't know. And I'd almost want to like put a little blanket over my body for a second to be like, don't look at me.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, oh, truth bumps.
Yeah, literally. Why do you think we get goosebumps?
I feel like it's because our body's got like such a deep intelligence. And I feel like obviously the universe has deep intelligence. There's so much that our human mind can't wrap itself around entirely. And I feel like there's just this communication happening with the body. It's a way of the body being like, hey, this is true. And you just feel the truth of what you're saying on a mind, body, soul level. And then the goosebumps are the thing that you like, you notice it with your human mind and you go like, oh, cool, like this is truth. And it's almost like just another way that you get communicated to through the universe.
Yeah, I think the same way. And it's so cool because I remember like when you said like you used to feel embarrassed about getting goosebumps, I remember I used to do the same thing. And I would always be like, why am I getting goosebumps? And especially I have this like super white Finnish hair. And when I get goosebumps, I remember someone made a comment about it actually when I was a kid and I got goosebumps and I literally like I got this white I thought it was adorable but they didn't. Anyway, and I remember being like conscious about it, like, you know, when you're young you just get conscious about fucking everything.
Totally.
And I was like, and then I was thinking, why do I get goosebumps all the time? Or why does my face get red all the time? And all these little things like we talked about, like if you are entering like super higher realms or like, when you just know something so strongly, like I feel like tingles in my face and in the back of my head, I get goosebumps, and then also I get really red face. And I also get red face with exercising, and like I always thought my body can't regulate properly because I get like super hot and super cold. Same. And that's why like I've always been super self-conscious of it because I feel like no one really talks about these things. I'm sure there's people out there who are like, oh my god, same. But then I've never just had that connection of like even talking about that or felt safe being like, hey, this is my insecurity, I get this thing. And then you are like, oh my god, I get the same thing. I'm like, oh, match made in heaven. This is perfect.
Yes. You're red and I'm wet. Can't regulate.
But it's a good thing.
Well, my friend Andrea said that. She was like, well, no wonder you can't regulate. She says, you're a fucking... She says it in a Czech accent, which I love. She's like, you're a fucking alien. She's like, you don't regulate here on Earth. She's like, you're not from this temperature.
Oh my God.
She's like, this is not your atmosphere. And I was like, oh.
Why have I not thought of that?
I know. When she said it, I was like, I like that a lot. It makes me like my sweating more. She's drinking water for everyone listening.
Sorry, guys. That's another thing I love about our friendship. It's like we have our insecurities, we bring them up. And then the other person is like, I love this about you. And then like tell all the things why they love this thing about you, or like why is it good. For example, you said like your sweating thing. And I said, that's like I sweat as well. I get so hot so easy. Like I get claustrophobic when I wear too much, especially in the surf. If I'm wearing a wetsuit and I can't steam or I can't take it out, I'm like, I'm gonna die. Like I'd rather be too cold because I always overheat. So I bond in that level, but you're like, no, you don't understand. I sweat so much that it's embarrassing and da-da-da-da.
But you saw it yesterday, right? Like that's why I think that people can't comprehend when people go, I go sweaty too. I feel like people cannot even comprehend that because they've never experienced it. So I just assume that no one knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Well, I have not experienced it in that level, but I do sweat a lot and my face gets bright red.
Like, at the core of it, embarrassment is still embarrassment. Doesn't matter how much you fucking sweat or get red. It's still, the core is shame.
Yeah, literally. And then I remember when we were talking about this and I was reading this book about crystals, and then I just realized that the reason why you sweat is because you channel so much information. You help people constantly, and that is your body's way of clearing itself. So it's like, okay, you got all this stuff and now you need to like clear it out of your system, because if you hold on all of that, you can't.
It would be a lot.
Yeah.
I constantly hear the collective. I am constantly talking to the collective in my mind, but I'm like not, and I'm aware of it. It's not like it doesn't stop. And at first I was like, am I going crazy? Like, what is this insane babble? Like, literally, why won't it stop? And it's not the same thoughts going around and around and around. So it's not like monkey mind, human brain going do-do-do out of anxiety. It's new thoughts coming through as if I'm listening to myself, talking to people in a microphone or something, sharing it to the collective energetically. And then I had this download in the shower that it's almost like I'm tuning into a future version of myself, saying all those things, preparing current me to say all those things. So it's like coming through. Anyway, I can't remember why I was telling you this.
We're talking about, that's why you sweat so much, because you constantly hear this stuff and your body
constantly coming through.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh, someone needs to hear this, someone needs to hear this, someone needs to hear this, someone out there needs to hear this, and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. And then I'm like yesterday when we were like meditating outside, and then you're like, this is what I mean. I'm like, that is cool. Like I genuinely was like, that's cool, because like it just shows how much like how you are connected and how much information is coming through. And like it's not, I don't even know why a human body can't handle that much information, but like it has to come out some way.
That's beautiful.
That's like the black hole. So we all have a black hole.
Go on.
I've been on this black hole rabbit hole for like last few months.
The universe has been screaming spirals at us.
Yeah, like torus field, black holes. But whatever comes into the black hole has to come out.
I had a download about this last night. Keep talking, it'll reform.
Now I want to hear it.
It's not forming, it's just coming back through. I got excited, it'll come back.
But whatever goes in there comes out. So, and then when we think about a torus field and like the more magnetic we become, the more stuff we like attract and like information we attract. And it's like this like that sound was to describe this like little tunnel. But that's why you sweat so much, because you get so much stuff come into your torus field, into your black hole, through your I just had this realization. Maybe this is wrong. Someone correct me if it's not right.
No, this feels right.
It feels very right. And then the question you're going to ask yourself is that if you don't want to sweat this much, like obviously you can maybe learn how to regulate it, but
I feel like I can do that. I haven't figured it out yet.
But then it's like, if you, especially like the embarrassment part, it's like, that's a cool thing. And then like if you would sweat less, that means I don't know, would you like stop blocking the information pouring in that pace?
I don't think so. I feel like with anything, it would just shift. It's like if you block a part of a stream, the water will create it'll push through the rock in another area. You know, it will take more time, but it would move. So I could, maybe if I control the sweating in certain points, but then allow myself to just like sweat heaps when I get home, like let it out another time, or find a different way to regulate the energy and let it through. So like maybe I start running or something instead.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that could actually work. Yeah, I sweat so much when I run. If I run like 10 meters, I'm like pouring. So maybe that could be an answer.
I also think it's a frequency thing. Like I think in general we're very high vibrational, and then the more we raise our frequency, the more we vibrate at a higher rate. So higher frequency doesn't mean like higher on a ladder. It means like faster.
Yeah.
And so we're vibrating faster, and when you vibrate faster, water starts to turn into steam and it starts to evaporate and turn into like driplets and all of that.
Yeah.
And so it's almost like we're literally just vibrating our water in our bodies out.
Yeah.
Stay hydrated.
Oh, that's so cool.
I was getting like something, as I was falling asleep last night, a download was coming through, and it was one of those times when I was like, I could turn the light on and get a notebook out and write this down, or I could just trust it'll come back through. And I was like, nah, I'll just let it come back through.
Yeah.
And it started to peek its head through again, so I can't fully remember it, but maybe if I just start speaking, it'll come out.
Yeah.
So this may or may not go somewhere, but it was something about the black hole and giving and receiving. And when you said what comes in a black hole has to come back out was when I was like, oh! And it was to do with like energy, information, anything. And I was seeing the universes, like the energy from like the unified consciousness coming in through my back, in my heart, but in through my back. So I was receiving it from the universe, and then I was giving it to Earth through my heart. And then the more I gave it to Earth, the more the universe gave to me. And I was just like in this constant, like the black hole was my heart and the universe was pouring it through my back and it was coming out of my front.
Oh my God, that makes so much sense.
Yeah. And then, but then it kept going into like more of a cyclical sort of way, like, because that's very much like a flow of a river, but then it was like cyclical. So then I was seeing things like the people in my life who will comment on a podcast episode and just be like, that changed my life in this way or another. Or someone who's like messaged me being like, hey, thank you so much for this thing that you've done. Like that is them giving back to me, right? And so then I'm giving from the universe is giving to me, I'm giving to the world, and then the world is turning around being like, thank you so much. And then I feel so much joy and love when people are like, hey, I see what you've done. I feel seen, and that makes me feel connected with. And so then I feel excited and I'm like, thank you so much. So then they're giving and I'm receiving through the front.
Oh my God, I'm picturing as you're talking, like, you know, I was thinking about the black hole and like the little, like the whole like tunnel through us, like, you know, like getting information from the universe and then like channeling it out. But then when you channel it out and then you share it to people and they froth it, like you're giving them, but also receiving their froth that's giving you. So then I was thinking of like, you know, like the electromagnetic field, how it goes like this.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm thinking while you are like talking about that.
It's this infinite 8.
Yes. Like through our bodies. And that's why like giving and receiving and understanding the importance is so important. Like, because the more, but it's not like you give for the sake of giving. Like giving has to be your state of being. Like the joy when you give, like the authenticity behind it, and then the authenticity of receiving, like the other end or whatever. It like, that's like the beautiful, like I always think of the 8 symbol. It's like this infinite flow of joyous state of being.
When you're giving and that person receives it with love, instead of being like, oh no, don't. But if that person's like, oh my God, thanks, you are both giving and receiving in that moment.
Yes.
So their excitement, you then go into receiving. And then they are also both giving and receiving because they're receiving what you've given them, but they're giving you like the gratitude. And so it's this constant flow of gratitude, abundance, giving, receiving on both ends.
Wow, I never thought about that in the sense of like when you, like the tone.
Goosebumps as fuck.
Oh, that's so sick. But like, yeah, I never thought about it in a way of like, you know, like sometimes, I don't know, I love giving and I like to receive. Oh, see, I did that. I love receiving as well. But I said I like. Because I feel like sometimes I'm like, oh, like that's too much, like I don't deserve it or whatever. Like that's the thing that I've been like
That's
trying
a
to like
self-worth
get
thing.
out for so long, and now I've like accepted the thing and I allow it to happen. But for so long, like if someone give me a compliment or some like for my work or of myself or whatever I'm doing, and I'm always like, thank you, like.
Yeah.
But like now, you just like pointed out the importance of being like, just when you receive it with such a joyous, authentic, excited, like way of like receiving it, it's just like that just emphasizes the cycle stronger.
The more you can be excited about receiving, the more you can be in the flow of abundance and gratitude.
Yes. Oh my God, thanks for translating my stuff. That's what I love about you. So I'm from Finland, for people not knowing. And sometimes I get languages mixed up in my head. And like yesterday we were talking and I was like, did I just talk Finnish? Like, did I say that in Finnish or English? Like, I'm tripping.
I was like, English, keep going, babe.
And then sometimes, like, just I get so excited, especially, like, having ADHD. Like, my brain is, like, 3 topics ahead already. And I'm thinking of something and my mouth's working so slow. Yeah. Something that I need to, like, work on, the connection between my mouth and my mind. But, like, it's so nice that I sometimes, like, I feel so safe around you at all the times that I can just say whatever and you're, like... you observe it and you piece what I'm saying, like if it doesn't make sense, and you're like, oh, so you're saying this, and this happens when I'm channeling, especially. Like I channel whatever and I just let it out as it comes out. Usually it comes out in English, so it's good. You don't have to be translating Finnish or Swedish or something.
I reckon I'd still get the gist.
And then you're like, oh, this is what you're saying. I'm like, yep, that's it. Like, I fucking love that. I love that so much.
Oh, that's so nice. Thanks. I was thinking about the giving and receiving thing and how the world in general, like, is in a big state of blinded by ego. This is just kind of where we're at. And the more light workers that are waking up and living in authenticity, the more we're dropping the veil of ego from people's eyes, kind of thing, just by existing. And then they're stepping into their power, and then they're dropping other people's veils, blah, blah, blah. It's like rippling on. And I was thinking about how when, let's just say, you see someone like starting to like really like level up their shit in life, and they're like having a great time and they're thriving and everything. And then maybe someone gives them a compliment or whatever, and then they take the compliment and go like, yeah, thanks, because like they're embodied in their shit. They know it's true. Like they're like grateful for it. They're excited to hear it. They feel seen or whatever. Then you can kind of, there are some people out there that would be like, that's lovely and inspiring and like, wow, that's like they'd be in the good vibe of that. And other people out there that would be like, oh, that person's like so full of themselves or whatever. Because the person thinking that person is so full of themselves, they themselves think that, you know, it's a big like ego thing to accept a compliment or whatever, when really it's a big ego thing to think that that's bad. And
I'm kind of like, I was following you, and then I went on planet B just because I heard a car outside, and I'm looking into your eyeballs. I'm like, oh my God, now I have no idea what we're talking about. And now I'm like, because my friend's picking me up soon, and I felt like I heard a car outside. I was like, oh, I wonder. And I was like, oh, I don't know where my phone is. And then I was like looking at your eye. I was like, you're telling me about something? I'm like, oh my God, I need to tell you because I don't know what you're talking about. I do it all the time. That's another thing I love about friendship. Just when we are in our ADHD modes, and
like,
we
I didn't hear you.
Yeah, I'm looking straight into your eyeballs, and I was like focusing so much that I saw every single little detail of your eyes, and I was like, whoa, she has really beautiful eyes. And I'm like, oh my God, now I have no idea. Like, now I'm so lost. And then I started just nodding. I'm like, and I'm like, nah, still not, nah. If you want to start over.
Basically, I'm saying that tall poppy syndrome is born from ego, and tall poppy syndrome basically hinders the growth and expansion of humanity's consciousness and coming back to source. So we need to sort of trample the whole tall poppy syndrome, celebrate each other's wins, but most importantly, accept when someone else is celebrating your wins with you and for you.
Yes.
And be like, oh my God, yes, thank you, that is so exciting. I'm so happy to take that compliment or whatever, because it just brings us closer to source.
That is so true. I love that.
I'm glad that you zoned out because I was saying that in a really fucking convoluted roundabout way, and then to summarize it came out way better.
Oh, perfect.
That worked out well.
You're welcome.
Is there anything else you want to tell everyone?
I think that like what you were saying about like celebrating our wins.
That is such a good part of our friendship.
Yes.
Very, very important in close relationships.
I know.
To acknowledge, it's like a cues thing. It's like, I can't remember, someone sometime somewhere said something about cues. Like if you were to walk into the room and just be like, meow, meow, I would just echo that. I'd be like, meow, meow, or whatever.
I love that. We do that all the time.
We do it all the fucking time, right? And like we instinctively acknowledge each other's cues and we speak back to them. So even if you're not literally saying or doing anything specific, I acknowledge your existence and echo it back to you wherever you are and whatever you're doing. And that, I feel, is the same kind of thing as when you're excited in froth mode and you're like, hey, I'm in this rabbit hole right now.
Oh my God.
I could be really, I could be like a wet rag and just throw it on you and be like, cool, I don't know, like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Or I could be like, oh my God, tell me all about it. As
Yeah.
if it's the most exciting thing on the fucking planet, because it is, because we're about to learn so much more about everything and get closer to everything that we want to actually get to. So I receive that with so much love and excitement, and you do the same for me. And so we get so excited to just speak to each other and bounce shit off each other.
And I think that is like, so that's like one of my favorite things about, there's so many favorite things. Okay, well, I love that about our friendship. But then realizing why, like you were talking, I was like, so true. Yes, I agree. And I was like, the reason why we are such good friends is because our values and how we see this life and how we want to be in this life for ourselves and others is so aligned, because you have the same value, like frothing for learning and froth for life. Like you see the beauty everywhere. You get excited, like your excitement. And when your eyes go like really big and you're like, oh my God, that's like, I love that because I'm the same. And that's why we get so frothy and excited with each other and like everything we do. And like, just like going for a walk and we're like, oh my God, look at that beautiful red piece of glass.
Yeah.
It's so red. And that tree.
Stopping and holding a tree just to touch it, see if it talks to us.
And just like acknowledging each other's like beauty, like the magic within us and around us, like that is one of my favorite things. And we just keep like, I don't know.
It just keeps amplifying.
Yeah.
It doesn't slow down.
Yeah.
It gets bigger and brighter. It's so beautiful.
And if there's anything that we're struggling with, we just voice it, and the other person usually has the answer.
Yeah.
And it's just like this constant constant flow. This yin and yang.
We are very yin and yang.
Yeah.
I thought about the time last week, when I was trying to massage up one of my own ego bits by
That was so annoying. That was really annoying.
I was like, I wonder when I'm sharing froth with someone, how much of it comes from genuine, pure soul froth and how much of it is my ego protecting my inner child, wanting to be like, oh my God, me too, I'm in this too with you as well, like blah, 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 which come from slightly different vibrations. They're both ultimately coming from a place of love, but one's coming from a place of like, am I with you am I with you in this? And the other one is, I am in with this with you. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. The difference is I am and am I.
Yeah.
And
like the situation when that would happen would be if I'm like, oh my God, I just experienced this thing. And you'd be like, that's so sick. I've actually experienced this thing as well. I think you forgot to tell that, so I would tell people.
Yeah. Because there's so much that I've done before or whatever. So I'm like, is it the part of me that's excited to tell you that I've done it before, to be like, oh my God, let's expand on this together? Or is there a part of me that just wants you to know that I've done it before?
Yeah.
And is this accepted here or whatever? It's almost like it's so weird. It was like I was just trying to close the finer little dots of separation or whatever, because I could feel, I was like, there's something there. I don't know what it is, but there's something. And I was like, I want to massage it up. And so then I was saying to Sonja that when she's coming to me to share froth, I'm just going to not tell her if I've done the thing before, just to see what my own ego does if I just hold it back. And so I honestly said that and was like, this is what I'm doing. And she was just like, I fucking hate that. And she's
I
like,
didn't say it that way.
no. But she was like, can you do this with literally anyone else but me? And I was like, I'm only doing this with you. I was like, you're the only person I'm practicing it on. And she was like, fuck off.
And like,
But then you had the best idea.
yeah, because we did this. You did this for a few days or something. And then like there was a couple of times like we were on the phone, on a FaceTime, and I would say something and you were like, and then I was like, what is this pause? And you're like so deep in your thoughts. And I was like, well, this is a moment where you'd be like, oh my God, same. But you're not saying that. And now I don't know what your outlook is on that. Like, 'cause for me, I love bouncing the froth, whoever I'm interacting with. And if I say I've done something, I love hearing that they've done it or they enjoy the same thing. Or like if they've done it, what did they learn about it or what's their outlook on it? Or like, you know, and then I feel like it was like a few days and I'm like, then we called and then you did that on the phone again. I was like, you were about to say same, hey. And then you're like, yeah. And I was like, okay, you can stop now. I'm done. I'm done with this experiment. I'm losing the connection with you.
You're like, I'm feeling really disconnected. And I was like, no. And then you were like, how about instead of withholding, why don't you just tell me in the moment if you're doing that in your head, if you're literally just being like, is this genuine froth or is this a little bit of like ego coming up? Like, and then I was like, oh, yeah, that'd be way better. That's more authentic to just say it out loud instead of like assess it in my own head by holding it back to see what the feeling was inside myself. Because that was the point. I wanted to see what the feeling would arise as in my body because then I get more information.
Yeah, and I remember when you first started the experiment, I was like, are you sure you want to do this? And then I was like, but I'm actually very, very excited to hear what you learn. Like I was still supportive, but I was like...
Appreciate that.
Yeah, but I was like, but aren't you go against like your values? Which is like how I see you is like you are, like your value is like being so excited about things.
Yeah.
And
I
you're
love
like
sharing froth with people.
Yeah.
It's like my favorite thing.
Yeah. So then I'm like, if you like the more you go against something that's the more you go against something that is your value, you like separate yourself, like you become more
separate.
Yeah.
And the goal was to aim at authenticity.
Yeah.
So then you were like, how about stop doing that?
Yeah.
Here's the more authentic way. And I was like, oh my God. And that was just like a revelation. And then the experiment was over within 3 days, which is incredible.
And then I also said like by you sharing that what you actually want to say, like you're not like holding yourself back, you're being authentically yourself.
Which literally closes the gap in itself. Yeah. Right. So I thought it was so, when I realized that, I was like, oh my fucking God.
It was so funny. But then I was like, I lost the train of thought. Fuck.
Authenticity. Say it out loud.
Oh yeah. And like the thing that if you like say how you want to say things and you're being your authentic self, and then if I notice something or then you notice something, you'll be like, hey, I noticed that I actually said that. I didn't mean that, or this was that, or that was ego. And then I can be like, like I learn from that as well. So it's like by doing that with someone like so openly, then the other person learns stuff that they didn't even know or that they need to learn or they could learn about themselves or whatever. So like
totally
holding yourself back is actually not benefiting anyone.
No, totally. Hard agree.
Yeah.
And like in general, like usually that's the exact thing. Like, because when you first were saying it, I was like, no, I'm being honest by telling you I'm doing the experiment. Like I was like, this is such a fucking, how much more honest could I get? But then to be like, I'm working on my ego right now and using you as a fucking mirror. But then, yeah, like to literally say it out loud and to express it like in the moment as it's happening is the even further into authenticity way to do it. And I just feel like in general, I've been having a really nice time being so open about the mind and ego work with people, like, or just when I don't know something, or like Zoe was here the other day and we were talking and I was like telling her something as if I confidently knew the thing, and I wasn't trying to be confident, I just was speaking confidently, and she was listening, and then I just like stopped halfway and I was like, yep, you know what, I actually don't know what I'm talking about. I was like, I haven't experienced it enough to know. And then she just like pissed herself laughing, and she was like, that was the most authentic thing I've ever fucking seen in my life. And I was like, and I kind of just, I was reflecting back on that and I was like, yeah, it's really nice. I feel like past me would have like tried to finish the sentence and tried to close the story off with something for some reason. Then I was like, this is going absolutely nowhere. And I just stopped. And that felt right. Like that just felt really nice. And then it was like a nice little, I was like, oh, like I feel like I've come really far with my mind and trying to not people please and just be, because I feel like the more you just are your authentic self, the more you're giving people permission to just do the exact same. It's like inspiring.
Yeah. And the energy when you are radiating from an authentic place, it's contagious. Like it makes people, like anywhere you go, even like you go to the shops and you buy something, or like you just meet like a random person, or like you give them like a smile when you walk past them. The smile that you get back is so authentic. Like it's not just like, oh, like, hey, you know, like it's actually like, oh, like the energy difference is huge.
It's noticeable as fuck.
And that's why like authenticity and understanding who you are so you can be the most authentic version of yourself is so important.
It is.
You just start like gliding through this life so rapidly and growing and enjoying it the way you're meant to be enjoying it. And yeah, it's so beautiful.
You're so beautiful. You were saying all that and I was looking at you with love heart eyes. I was like, no.
Thank you. I love you too. Oh my God.
Should we wrap it up?
Yeah, we can wrap it up. I feel like I don't want to wrap it up, but we should wrap
We
it
don't
up.
have to wrap it up. We can do whatever you want. I want to use your little art thing and make a drawing. I want to just draw some little squiggles. Can I download some squiggles? No, download. I want to draw them and then download them and then stick them on photos as transparent PNGs.
Yes. Yes, yeah, you can use my art thing.
Yeah. I just want to literally just go
Yeah, you can.
and then download a bunch of PNGs.
That's another thing I love. Like, because we both love learning so much and we have knowledge in so many fields, but especially in a creative field. Anything to do with like creativity and mind and body, like we just froth that stuff. And then like,
which is mind, body, soul, because soul is creativity.
oh my God.
Yeah. We froth our whole existence. Come on.
Yeah, like for example, painting. It's like, you discover this new paint or like new way of like doing some sort of texture, and you're like, oh my God, like without me even asking about it, you just share. You're like, hey, I did this, and this is like the most beautiful texture. Like
when I got those crayons, I was like, I got crayons and I feel like I know the exact crayons that I was like, I know that you know which crayon. I was like, I got these crayons and I know that these are the crayons that you want without you having ever even fucking said you even wanted crayons. And I was like, if you want crayons, these are the ones that I fucking know. And you were like, that's the brand I want. And I was like, I know.
Yeah. And I've been wanting crayons for so long. I actually still haven't bought them, but you inspired me. One day I will buy them. And then like, you know, for example, photo stuff, like you've done photo work for so long, and then when I was starting to, like when I was at the start of my photo stuff, I was like, oh, how do you export this stuff, or what do you do? Like, and then it was just like this like beautiful exchange. Like, I feel like we both just teach each other so much and we love learning. So it's just like, same goes back to the whole give and receive thing. It's so nice.
Every single skill that one of us takes on, we give it to the other.
Yeah. Without even them asking. I learned this, there you go.
You're going to want this at some point. Oh, right here.
Oh, here's a rabbit hole. The universe is like yelling this to me right now about black holes. Let's learn everything about black holes and gravity.
Do you know what's really cool? Learning the thing. So it's like you'll be learning something, like, and I'll be learning something. And then we teach each other the thing. And so we're both going through the process of learning something and also teaching something. And when you teach something, you're learning it even more yourself.
Yes.
So it's like that even accelerates our learning and our growth even more.
Exactly, because the more you learn, the stronger your synaptic connections get in your brain when you repeat that. So then that connection gets stronger and stronger and stronger, and that becomes your state of being.
Yeah.
It's so cool. That's why I love teaching what I've just learned. That's why I tell it to like random people. I'm like, I learned this about time and gravity.
Just get a megaphone and walk down the street.
Do you want to learn about time and gravity?
Anyone who wants to talk about time and gravity, come here.
Okay, if not that, we can talk about black holes. Anything else about space? Okay, no, I'm just going to keep walking. Have a beautiful day.
Walk over to the ocean. Do you want to hear about it?
Oh my goodness. All right, well, maybe we'll wrap it up.
If anyone wants to find Sonja because you've listened to this and you're obsessed with her, what's your Instagram handle?
SONJQ.
SONJQ.
It's like Sonja, but Q instead of an A.
Q.
Sonj.
Sonj.
So no, smart back in the day, and I thought Q and A looked like the same letter, so that's why I did that.
Yeah. Hey, do you want anyone to do any of your things? Do you feel like doing anything for anyone?
Any
All
of
of
my
your
things?
design work and stuff?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm a creative. I design, take photos, videos, and model. So if anyone's in the need of that, feel free to shoot me a message.
Mm-hmm. Perfect.
Otherwise, I don't know. I'm just chilling.
Whatever
I'm
the
just
universe
chilling.
brings in.
Yeah. When you were like, do you
on
want
the menu?
anyone to know? I was like, oh, like, I can't tell, like, if someone's interested, but I'm just chilling at the moment. Not too fast.
That's beautiful. All right. Love you guys. Bye.
Love you. Bye.